Hey everybody, it's Leon and welcome to the Body Mind 360 Health and Fitness News. So in today's inaugural episode, I'm going to probably spend a minute or two mispronouncing the real life name of the mountain from Game of Thrones. Real life name Hafthor Bjornsson, aka Thor, who broke into the news this weekend when he set a brand new world deadlift record. We're going to talk about that and a couple other surprising things that you may not know about him right after the break. All right, guys, so for those of you that don't know about Hafthor Bjornsson, he is not just a giant of a man on screen when he played the role of the Mountain on Game of Thrones. He is also a legitimate strongman. He is 6'9", anywhere between 425 and 450 pounds. Huge man, incredibly strong. And so in the news this weekend, I have a link in the description to a post about him breaking the world deadlift record. That was 501 kilograms, which is basically over half a ton. And what's really shocking about this world record and the way it was basically how he broke it. So this record was previously held by Eddie Hall that just recently broke it a couple years back. And the story about him breaking the record was that when he broke 500 kilograms, after the lift, he basically almost collapsed on the weight. There was blood coming out of his nose and I believe his ears as well. And then in a future interview, he had mentioned that he basically went temporarily blind from the lift. Basically what happened to him was a complete shock to his system. He was so overloaded, he basically put everything into it. If he had probably lifted any more, he would have probably collapsed right then and there, but he finished the lift. Now, not so much with the Mountain. When he lifted it, and I was watching the video just recently, and you can check out the full video in the link below, he made it look easy. He even in an interview said he felt great, he felt really healthy, and like he probably could have done more, and I believe him, he definitely could have done more, but he says, why? And I really kind of respect that a lot because it's such a high risk lift, and any strongman competition, if you've ever watched them, you know, and if you haven't, you should. It's ridiculously fun to watch. They have them on ESPN or ESPN2. I forget which network they have it on, at least once a year. And the lifts are normally so awkward that you see injuries left and right. And he chose to decide that, hey, you know what? I've got the record. I don't need to push it. Why risk getting hurt? So while he could have done quite a bit more, he stopped right there. So that was amazing in itself, but it's not the only thing he's done. So there was another thing he did a couple years back. Now remember, this guy's only 31 years old. He's still relatively young here by all standards. So another crazy lift he did was break a supposed 1,000-year-old Viking record. And this was done during the world's strongest Viking competition. And he basically did a feat of strength where he had a log that weighed over 1,300 pounds, so 1,320 pounds, giant log, placed on his back, and he lifted it up and walked 3 feet with it. Now, some people say, oh, what's the big deal about walking 3 feet? Now, first of all, this was a giant log, so it's a very awkward weight. And it wasn't like he lifted it from a deadlift or a squat or anything like that. It was placed and he lifted it just a couple inches off the ground and then walked with it. But the fact that all that weight had to transfer from one leg to the other is ridiculous. Most people obviously would not be able to even get it off the ground, but it could very easily just crush you and cause your spine to get squished. So that in itself was another record that was ridiculous to see him compete. And I will share a link to that as well. Now, on top of that, this guy is also a really accomplished World Strongman competitor. So in the World Strongman competitions in 2018, he actually won the whole competition. Last year, he got, I believe it was third. Yeah, third. And he was basically either second or third every year since 2012, which is a huge feat because, again, it's very hard to stay healthy and consistent in the sport. So really, really impressive strongman, really impressive human being. Again, check out all the links for him below. Would love to hear your guys' comments of what your thoughts are about him breaking this record. What other records can he break? Curious if he can break the deadlift record, the bench press record. That might be a little tough because he's so tall and those long arms aren't really suited when it comes kinesthetically to bench pressing as much. Better for the kind of shorter, stockier individuals with shorter arms. But for the deadlifts, obviously, it's not that bad, and he's got some leverage benefits there. So that was our very first episode. I'll be sharing other episodes about interesting news. Again, love to hear your comments on this video and what you thought about Hafthor Bjornsson's world-breaking setting this weekend. And as always, guys, going to see you guys next time on your journey to healthier body and mind.